Hello everyone, my name is KelSounds, and today I want to show you how to make a riser effect inside of Snap Heap, which I thought was pretty cool, and I just wanted to show you guys. So the end result kind of looks like this, and it's called Snap Heap Riser, and I'm going to go ahead and use it in an example. So I'll grab a loop, phase plant synths. By the way, this little pack is in my Patreon, so if you're interested, you can go ahead and grab yourself, or download this sample pack. There's a total of 10. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm gonna go ahead and use this loop. So yeah, I have 3 knobs here. I have the riser, which is the effect, the mix, and the volume. The volume just cuts off the effect, like immediately. So like after the riser, actually, you know, I'll just show you what I mean. So without the mix on, nothing really happens. Oops, put this to 120. But with mix, you can obviously hear the effect. So I'm gonna go ahead and put it on this part. And that is the riser effect. And so you can have it kind of tail off after the riser effect happens, or you can just silence it. Just do this. And there you go. That's the riser effect. So I'm going to show you how to make this inside of Snap Heap. You can also do this inside of the Ableton rack or effects rack, and it's pretty much the same thing as the Snap Heap. It's got pretty much the same effects and everything. So I got like a EQ, compressor, another EQ. Oh, okay, yeah, that's doing some other effect. Reverb, multiband dynamics, and a utility. But yeah, it's got pretty much all the same stuff happening. So I'm gonna go ahead and just delete this and start from scratch and show you guys what I did here. So go ahead and grab your Snap Heap. Alright, so what effects I use were Slice EQ. So I used that. I used a dual delay. I used a compressor, then I used a multipass, and I actually have 2 dynamics effects in here, kind of just bringing up the highs and the mids, and then it's kind of just getting rid of the lows. And then of course, actually what else did I use? I think the compressor was after everything. And then I used a gain I put on percent to silence all the feedback from the effects. And that's about it. That's pretty much all I used. Slice EQ, dual delay, multipass, and a compressor. And actually for this compressor, I put it inside of a Snap Heap because Kilohertz compressor doesn't have a mix knob, which was kind of frustrating. So Snap Heap does. So what I did was I just loaded up a compressor inside of Snap Heap because you can just control the mix from here. And so what was happening was this compressor was compressing the sound. I didn't want that until I had the effect at its full effect, and so that's why I put it inside of Snap Heap, because I didn't want it to compress the sound immediately. I only wanted it to happen as the effect was happening. So yeah, we'll start off with the Slice EQ. I'm gonna go ahead and turn these off as we do them individually. And so what I did here was, actually first, I'm gonna rename this first macro to riser. And so I grabbed a high pass filter, and we're kind of just gonna do this with it. Just kind of sweep through the frequencies, and we're just modulating it with the riser macro that we renamed here. I'm gonna go ahead and click the plus and come over here and do this. Actually put this down, and I want it to go higher than that, probably around here. And then I went ahead and also automated the Q for a higher resonance. So I'm gonna go ahead and automate that and have it come back over here at the beginning of the Slice EQ. And as it slowly starts to sweep through the frequencies, I want it to slowly rise. So I'll do this, probably right around there. And so there we go. And that's that. I'll probably bring this up a little bit. And that's pretty much the effect, really, is that slice EQ is doing the majority of the work. And then I went ahead and added a dual delay to kind of make the sound echo. And I think I had it at 45%. I didn't want it at full mix because it was just too much delay. So I went ahead and put it at a 4/16 time signature. So it sounds like this. And then I went ahead and automated the mix. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down, and I only want it at 45%. So you can either just right click or kind of tune it until it says 45% down here. And there you go. That's what I did with the dual delay. So nothing too fancy, just automating the mix of the dual delay. And then for this multipass, it's pretty interesting what was happening in here. I just wanted it to do some upwards compression on the mids and the highs here, and I wanted it to turn down the lows of the signal. So that's why I have this gain at 0, because I don't want any muddy frequencies as the effect is rising, or as the riser begins to have full effect. I don't want any sub frequencies, so that's why I did that. I'm gonna go ahead and put this. Oh, that's actually good enough. And so I put the threshold at -20, I think it was. And I did the same thing here at -20. Then the ratio is at 2, so go ahead and put a ratio of 2 for both of them. And so as the effect begins to take place, I just automated the mix of what was happening inside of this multipass, which again was just bringing up the mids and the highs and turning down the lows, no muddy frequencies. So I'm gonna go ahead and automate the mix. And it's pretty cool because it also brings out the effect even more because it's bringing up those frequencies. And then for the last thing, I added the snap heap with a compressor on it because the compressor doesn't have a mix, which was kind of frustrating. Kilohertz, please put a mix on the compressor. That would be dope. And this, I think I put at the threshold. I put at -20, I think. I'm gonna go ahead and turn up the mix on this. And then for the makeup gain, you kind of just want to hear it out. So turn off the compressor, and you can hear how loud the signal is. And then when you turn on the compressor, it's obviously compressing the signal, so it's not as loud. And so you want to go ahead and just kind of hear it out and get the makeup gain as close as to the input of the original signal. So I think it was 50% for me. Yeah, I think it was 50%. And then so turn it off, turn it back on. Pretty similar in gain. So but yeah, and then all the other settings you just leave at default. You didn't have to do anything too fancy with that. And all this is doing is just automating the mix, kind of just like the mix knob inside of Ableton's stock compressor. So that's all that's acting as, is just a mix knob for the compressor. And so I just automated that, and the final product of the sound of the riser sounds like this. Our last thing that we added here was our, oops, I'm gonna turn it on. Our last thing that we added here was our gain. The gain has a separate macro knob actually, so I'm gonna rename this macro knob volume. And so this is the effect, and this is the volume of the effects working together. So yeah, what the volume is doing is just pretty much cutting off the tail of all the feedback of the original signal. So it's just, if you want to silence it immediately after the effect, or if you want it to have more gradual decay, then you can go ahead and automate the volume. But this is just automating the gain of this snapping. I want to go ahead and modulate or automate that. And so I want it to be 0 when the macro is turned all the way down. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this down, and I want it to be 100% volume when I turn it all the way up. So I'm going to go ahead and put this at, I think it was 100? Oh, no, alright, it's way too high. I think it was at 50, so go ahead and put 50%. And oh yeah, and that's 100, so that's 0 decibels. And this is silence. And that is pretty much it, I think. And so yeah, that is our riser effect inside of Snap Heap. And if you want to, you can go ahead and group this. So for me, Ableton, I'm just going to go ahead and group it and put 2 macros. Configure the riser and the volume to macro 1. It'll automatically rename it. And map this to macro 2, and it'll automatically rename that one too. So give these some colors. And so that's your riser effect inside of Snap Heap. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you enjoyed. And before I actually end the video, I kind of just want to show you what it sounds like. I'm going to go ahead and automate the volume too, because I want it to completely be silent after the riser effect. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. So there is the riser effect, and there's the volume. And that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed, and adios.